Let's talk the club. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the color. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler on the Let's Talk the Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk the Cutler YouTube channel, Let's Talk the Cutler virtual book club. And it is already a Tuesday. It is the 10th of October. And I don't know about you all, but I'm looking forward to this 1800 seconds that we're going to spend together this evening. I'm really looking forward to it. I keep cracking up because the topic, I don't know if it shows up there on your device, but we're going to talk about how to hush. We're going to talk about how to hush. Now, I'll get around to that in just a moment, but just in case somebody's stopping by for the first time and they're wondering what this channel is about, it really is about, despite the subject, it is about inspiration, motivation, and it is about challenging. This is going to be a challenge. It is about challenging ourselves to make sure that we've shown up better today than we did yesterday. Likewise, it is to challenge ourselves to make sure that we are going to show up better tomorrow than we did today. And all things considered, to make sure that we're showing up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Sometimes there's situations that push you and tempt you and compel you to want to talk and to have something to say and to just have to say a whole lot. Sometimes when we're angry, sometimes when we're upset, sometimes when our emotions are very high, either because we're sad or we're angry or something. Sometimes those situations tend to pull us out of character just a bit. But all things considered, it is about having the conversation so that we can strive to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, and to make sure that however we show up better. All right, that's the goal. The goal is to get us to this place that's called better. And better doesn't have to happen 3 weeks from now, 3 months, 3 years, but better happens as soon as you believe that it's possible. I believe that I can be better. And because I believe that I can be better, then better is already happening. I believe that there are successes that already have my name on them. I believe that there are victories that already have my name on them. I believe that there are wins that already have my name on them. I believe that there are accomplishments that already have my name on them. So because I believe that, it's already there for me. And that is I believe that my behavior, I believe that my responses, I believe that my reflexes can be better. I believe that my conversation can be better. And because I believe that, it's already possible. Because I believe that it's possible, it's already happening. I'm on that trajectory to that space and that place that is called better, and so are you. And so thank you for spending these 1800 seconds with me, wherever you're spending them, wherever you are allowing me to come into your respective places. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for those who have been with me for the long haul, and for those of you who catch the replays. And even if you've been on reprieve for a while, I'm just glad to see you all, and I'm thankful for you all being a part of my village, being a part of my community, being a part of my circle. I trust that I'm a part of yours as well. Hey, let me shout out the LTTC VIPs in just a moment. But before I do that, again, I want to encourage people, if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe. And once you subscribe, then click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live, like I am now. It's really me. This is not Memorex. That's really telling my age. It's not Memorex. It's really me, you all. But it lets you know whenever I've gone live. The notification bell, whether it's down there, up there, over there, it lets you know whenever I've gone live or whenever I have uploaded new content. And now I just want to shout out the LTTC VIPs. I see some of you are have logged in, but come on over in the chat, say hi so I can see you and know that you're here. All right. But for now, I want to shout out the top 3 people that I see in the chat. Those are the LTTC VIPs for the evening, and they are Annie Cutler, Kimberly Montoya, and Marissa. So good to see you all. I hope y'all had a great holiday. If you were off, and if you didn't have to work, I hope that you had a good holiday yesterday. And the month is moving, and so are we. Hey, listen, here we are in October, and Halloween is coming, Thanksgiving is coming, Christmas, it's all here. It's all right here on us. So you all make sure you get ready. Don't let any of that any of those days catch you off guard, just make sure that you are ready. But I want to talk about how to hush, you all. Keep laughing at the subject, how to hush, because this morning I read something. And it said, as bad as you want to address it, some things are better left unsaid. As bad as you want to address it, some things are better left unsaid. Now, let me just do a poll or survey. How many of you all from time to time, you may not want to admit this, color, don't put the people on the spot, but from time to time, how many of you all have really wanted to address things and you wrestled with whether or not you should say something or whether you should let it go, or maybe I should just say a little piece and just keep on going, but then sometimes you realize if I say something and what they say back I'm not going to like, and you just really wrestle with whether or not you should say something or say nothing. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk to you all. And if it's not you, maybe you know a friend, maybe you have somebody in your circle, your village like that, and you just want to keep reminding them, listen, as bad as you want to address it, some things are better left unsaid. I'm really talking about more so when we have an issue with speaking when we are angry. So I want to ask you all this. Let me just put the cards out on the table. How many of us have trouble keeping our mouth closed when we're angry? How many of us are challenged? And maybe you don't want to put it in the chat, but maybe you say to yourself privately that that's you and you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to spill the beans. But can I tell you all something that I read? I read something that said, speak when you are angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. That stopped me in my tracks. Let me read that again. Speak when you are angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. People who don't regret some of the things that they say when they're angry, they make me nervous. Because a lot of times people will say things out of anger that would bite and cut and abrade people. And then they don't regret, they don't go back and apologize. So people who can have that kind of that sense of being make me uncomfortable. But I thought I'd throw this out after I read that quote this morning. And then when I read this other one, I thought, wow, how many of us really have problems and trouble or challenges with keeping our mouths closed when we're angry? Because if you answered yes to that question, and some people may not necessarily want to put it, I'm waiting for waiting for you all to respond, because I know there may be a little lag behind. But again, if you have trouble keeping your mouth closed when you're okay, because I want to see what you all are saying. I need to know my audience. I need to know who's out here, who's talking to me tonight. But if you answered yes to that question, I'm sure you probably realized that there's some truth to this quote. Ambrose Bierce, I love reading his quotes. But again, think about that thing. Speak when you're angry, you make one of the greatest speeches that you will ever regret. Cutler, since you're talking all these practical things, how in the world can you offer guidance and advice? Well, I was looking online today at this online anger management class. And so I have to confess that what I'm going to share this evening is that it's not necessarily original. I have some of my twists and tweaks and spins on it. But when it comes to how do I actually learn how to keep my mouth closed, how to hush whenever I'm angry, how do I manage that? Because some of you also, me, guilty. Yes, I shut up and shut down. Then I go back after I have had time to breathe and choose my words. Okay, so we're talking about how to hold your peace, how to keep your mouth closed sometimes, or as we say in the South, just how to hush. If you all know people who need to hear this, go and tell them. Really, go and get them. You all say, come on, let's talk to Color, because he's going to talk about how to hush, how to just keep your mouth closed sometimes when you're angry, when you're upset, how to just hold your peace. Because a lot of people need to hear this, you all. A lot of people need to hear this. How Tutler do I learn how to hush? How do I keep my peace? One of the things, you all, that the article was saying is that we need to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Remember that we need to be quick to listen and slow to speak. I often say, and this is not even on a religious platform that I'm talking tonight, but I say there is a reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And maybe we should use them in that proportion. Listen twice as much as I speak. It's much better to be a good listener than a good speaker. So that way we get to listen to what people have to say. We get a chance to take our time and process what people have said before we start speaking. There is a reason. Sometimes when you're angry, you just need to do this and just turn and allow your ear to hear. And then as you're allowing your ear to hear, you say, okay, so now that I've turned my ear to hear, I need to let myself process this before I speak. A lot of times oh my God, we just start speaking. We get angry and upset and our anxiety goes up and we just start speaking. I mean, because I feel like I need to give somebody a piece of my mind at the moment. I need to let my opinion be heard. I need to let them know what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, how I feel about this, what's going on in my mind. Let there be no mistake. Let me just clear the air. Let all of this stuff, all of this. And we need to be quick to listen and slow to speak. That's one way that we can learn to just hush. Another way that we can just learn to hush is to just make sure that we're not double-minded. Because you can't have peace of mind and conflict at the same time. Either you want the conflict at the moment or you really want peace. You you can't have the conflict and peace at the same time. And you have to say to yourself, which one do I want? And if I really want the peace, maybe the peace calls for me to be silent in the moment. But sometimes we'll put peace on the back table because I've got to be heard. I need to be heard in this moment. What I have to say is important. Oh, they're going to hear me. What is more important? Conflict or peace? Conflict or peace? If I choose peace, the peace might just tell me to hush. Cutler, it's not even worth it. Or peace is worth the silence. Peace is worth holding your peace. And then you have to ask yourself, with respect to the person that I'm engaged in this conversation with, do I want to maintain the relationship? You have to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want the relationship? Because always trying to be right will sometimes destroy relationships. Let me say that again. Always having to be right, wanting to be right, trying to be right, always having to be right will sometimes destroy relationships. I don't know who, I know I sound like a preacher when I say this. I don't know who that's for, but that's for somebody. Always having to be right will sometimes jeopardize your relationship. And then, I mean, I'm just tossing these out because, again, some of these are I'm putting my spin and my thoughts on it and my tweaks. But how to just sometimes hush when we're angry. I feel like I've just got to say it. I need to say it. I need to be heard. I get all of that. I've experienced all of that. But you all, sometimes it is just best to hold your peace. Because again, be twice as quick to listen. Don't be double-minded in what you want. Either you want the peace or you want the conflict, and the choice is yours, and your action will speak louder than your words. Oh, I want peace, but Bill, be careful. The way you just said that, you really don't want peace. Then we get firm with it. So now I have to question the relationship, you all. A lot of times you have to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to sacrifice the relationship? Because you can't be right all the time. Another thing here, don't jump to conclusions. Slow down and think. Think through the situation. Think through the scenario. Think through the circumstance. Think, for goodness sakes, think. And don't jump to conclusions. A lot of times we jump to the conclusions about how we think people are going to respond, how they are going to react, how they are going to behave, what the outcome is going to be like. And just as sure as you're thinking that the outcome could be one way, just as much as it could be that one way, it could be 5 other ways, or at least one other way. So don't jump to conclusions. Think through situations. I've heard people say things like, "Well, no, I know what they were thinking." How in the world did you know what somebody else was thinking? Are you a mind reader? No, for real. How did you know? You said, "I know what they were thinking. I already knew it." Really? Did they tell you? I mean, y'all, really just think about on the surface what that sounds like. I know, I know what she was thinking. I know what he was thinking. So you are confessing to me that you are a mind reader, that you were a mind reader. I choose peace. I've come to that point in my life. How many young people could still be here if this advice was heeded? How many, Linda? How many? Our young folk get out nowadays and in the heat of anger, in the heat of anger, people that listen, they're just not throwing fists, they're pulling knives and pulling guns because somebody did not know how to control that anger and how to just hold their peace. And somebody didn't teach them that. And there are some people who tried to teach them and they just didn't heed the lesson. Fabulous me. My husband has taught me if I'm upset, give it 24 hours and add a day, depending on how big the hurt or the issue. Absolutely. Because it's not always important to speak in the moment. I tell people don't make rash decisions. Don't make any decisions when you are emotional, either extremely, either if you're extremely happy or extremely sad. Just on the scale of emotions, if you are filled with emotions, don't make decisions. Also, sometimes if you are filled with emotions, just don't say anything. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't say the first thing that comes into your head. That was in the article that I read today. Just don't say the first thing that comes to your mind. Sometimes people say things like, listen, I just can't keep from saying this. I just can't keep from saying what's on my mind. Yes, you can. No. Yes, you can. You don't want to because somewhere along the line, ego gets involved, and I've got to say what I want to say. I need to say what I need to say. I have to say what I have to say. It's always the I, me, and me. I, me, and my. They're gonna hear me. Really? Is peace not important? Are we teaching people, are we teaching our young people that you're entitled to be heard? So when the teacher says such and such in the classroom, you're entitled to be heard. Stand up and have your say. Sit down. Sit down. What kind of generation are we raising who can jump to conclusions, who can say the first thing that comes to mind because they feel that they are entitled to be heard? There are ways. There are ways to just learn how to hush. One of the things that we have got to teach this next generation, and sometimes we need to teach the generation before us, along with our generation, is don't overreact to criticism. Everybody's going to have, listen, Everybody is going to get talked about. Somebody is going to have something to say about whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you wear, wherever you go, however you be, however you show up. Somebody is going to have something to say about it. Now, they shouldn't, but the truth of the matter is they will. It doesn't make them right. And I'm talking to situations a lot of times, so people aren't necessarily right in what they do, but we have to learn to counter that. So one of the things we need not do is overreact to criticism. One of the writers said that they compared criticism to cheese on a mousetrap. So the criticism is the cheese that's on the mousetrap. And what happens when the mouse takes the cheese? He gets his tail caught in the trap. So the criticism is the cheese on the mousetrap. And when the mouse deals with the criticism and tries to handle it, tries to react to it, gets caught in the trap. Just don't overreact to the criticism. Because you have to say to yourself, and I've said this before you all, you have to say to yourself, I'm bigger than this circumstance. I'm bigger than this situation. I'm larger than this. It does not mean that I'm better than anybody, but it means that there are some circumstances and some situations and some scenarios and what have you that you are bigger than and you are better than. And you have to say to yourself, I'm better than this moment. I'm better than this moment of temptation. I'm bigger than this. I'm bigger than this carrot that's dangling in my face. I'm bigger. I'm better than what's luring me to come out of character. I'm greater than this thing that is challenging my integrity. You've got to say, I'm bigger and better than that. Some moments you are larger than. I'm larger than this moment. I cannot be confined to this moment that's trying to pull negativity out of me. I'm greater than this moment. No, you're not going to get me to overreact to criticism because I'm larger than this moment. Plus, I've got to live after this moment. And how I live after the moment is based on how I respond during the moment. Maybe during the moment I need to hush. And I get it. I get it that this conversation you're having tonight, Color, is kind of difficult because it calls on my second nature. Because I've been so programmed to do what I do. So you suggesting that I can be another way? I can show up another way when it comes to people criticizing me, when it comes to me responding in anger. Yes, I'm saying there's another way. Oh, well, it's just in my family because we tell people what we got to say and we're done with it. Well, okay, all right. It runs in my family. Graves are for family. Cemeteries are for family. So maybe what we need to do is also stay away from some of the negative comments and the negative thoughts and the negative statements that we sometimes say. If we learn to practice not saying some of the negative things that we say, maybe we can condition ourselves to keep our mouths closed and to hush. We say things like this. Oh, that's just stupid. He's stupid. She's stupid. I can't stand them. They make me sick. Really? Oh, listen, haven't you all heard that? Not that you say it, but haven't you all heard that? Oh, this makes me sick. She's just dumb. He's stupid. Maybe we need to learn to curtail the number of negative statements that we make on a daily basis. Maybe if we can discipline ourselves from some of the things that we are programmed to say and programmed to do, when we are in auto mode, autopilot with our mouths, we need to work on those. I think one of the things my mother modeled for me, and maybe she actually said this, is that just because it comes up doesn't mean it has to come out. There are some positive statements that you can make about situations and people and circumstances other than saying, "Oh, she's dumb, he's dumb." I mean, that's stupid. She's stupid. Stop that. And because we model that for the young people who are coming up behind us in our lives, and then sometimes we look at them and we wonder, where did you get that from? They got it from us. They got it from us. So we've got to be careful about that. We've got to be careful about overgeneralizing how we see the world, how we see things. When we say things like, well, they always do so and so, or they never do so and so, or everybody's doing something, or ain't nobody doing it. You all listen to the statements that we're making. Listen to the statements that we're making. I, I remember hearing a conversation, and the conversation was around people who steal. Oh, everybody has stolen something in their life. Everybody has not stolen something in their lives. That's a lie. Sometimes we say things because we just have to validate how we show up and how we be. Everybody, no, let's just stop that. Try to have a rule of thumb: treat people the way I want to be treated, with the exception of hateful speaking and tone of speech. If the tone of speech directed at me, I have to walk away. I think it's good. Kimberly, I think it's a sign of strength to be able to walk away sometimes. See, and a lot of times, thank you, because you led me to something when you said that. A lot of times when I'm telling you, and I said, use the word earlier, a lot of times our ego get in the way, and I've got to be seen, I've got to be heard, I've got to prove my point. Or they're going to respect me, they're going to hear me, they're going to see me, or they're going to get these hands. I mean, we say all that kind of stuff. Ready to fight. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, so now really, how did I look in that situation? Sometimes we don't even care how we look. We look foolish, we look crazy, but we don't care in the moment because our ego, sometimes your ego can have you looking crazy. See this screen. Y'all, I'm telling you, your ego can have you looking crazy because you're saying to yourself, oh, I don't care how I look. I don't care. I mean, haven't you ever seen people with that expression? I don't care how I look. People say, calm yourself down now because you want to be heard. I don't care. People angry, uncontrollable, unconsolable. I mean, you can't do anything to just can't calm people down. We just need to learn. And see, I think if we have this conversation in this setting, when our emotions are not very high, and we can have this conversation now, so when situations show up in our lives, we can present our best selves even in the worst of situations. Cutler told me a situation was going to come along to challenge that conversation we had the other night. I'm telling you all, I guarantee you, my grandmother would say, I frank guarantee you that a situation is going to show up that's going to challenge you on this conversation tonight. Somebody or something is going to get on your nerves. Somebody or something is going to get under your skin. It might be me talking to you or having this conversation, but somebody or something is going to push you out of your comfort zone, and they're going to make you want to tell them off and give them a piece of your mind. They're going to make you mad. And then you're going to have to challenge yourself and say, all right, how am I going to show up in this moment? I'm not going to be there with you, but you have to hear this conversation and you have to ask yourself, how am I going to show up in the next moment when I'm angry and I want to be heard? What am I going to do? Am I going to take a breather and step back and exhale? Am I going to hold my peace for just a moment? And am I really going to learn how to hush? Or am I going to say, no, I'll use that another time? That lesson, that color talk, I'll pick that lesson up another time. No, you all, the goal is to apply these situations so that it can become second nature for us to just sometimes learn how to hush, because we struggle with this. We struggle with this. And like Linda was saying earlier, if we could have gotten some of our young people to heed this lesson, they would be walking on this earth today. But a lot of times they just didn't learn how to hush. That is not to excuse perpetrators and people who took their lives, but a lot of times you have to ask yourself, maybe a situation could have been averted, maybe a crisis could have been avoided, maybe it could have come out differently if somebody would have responded differently. Maybe just learn how to. Maybe we just don't think this lesson is important. You all talking to me. Is this lesson important? Is it applicable nowadays? Does it have relevance in the lives of us and our young people and generations that are coming after us, and maybe in generations before us who didn't teach us this, but they model for us? Let your voice be heard. Say whatever's on your mind. But I challenge that, saying whatever is on your mind in 2023. People have guns and knives and vehicles, and they're just mean and nasty. Telling you all, y'all done messed around and let me use all of my 1800 seconds. I need to come. I'm telling you all, I need to pick this conversation back up Thursday. And can you all do me a favor for real? I'm serious about this. I mean this with my whole heart. Go and get somebody to tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because we need to talk about how to hold our peace in situations when we get angry and upset, and we just want to give everybody a piece of our mind, and it's not cute. And we think we can do all of that and then come back and apologize to people for saying things that hurt them. But listen, once the bell is rung, you can't unring it. Once the bell has been rung, you can't unring it. Once you stick the knife in me, I've got to live with the scar. I'm telling you all, go and get somebody. I got to go, but go and get somebody and tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. The man is really talking about some real stuff now. When he hit this topic on how to hush and the need to hush, some of our relationships will still exist if we only learn how to hush. I got to pick this one back up, you all. I really, really do. I feel the need to pick this one back up. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. You all stay safe, stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up. Really, honestly, and know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. And until the next time we talk, tell somebody else, go and get them. Tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. Have a good evening, everybody. I'll see you all the next time.